Starting a garden from seed is easier than you think. Today I'll show you how. Let's go. Step 1, you want to prepare your seed trays. You want to fill your seed trays with a lightweight soil. Here, I made my own seed starting mix. You can buy them in the store, but I come across so many videos that it's so many demonstrations on how to start your own seed starting mix. So I decided this year I was going to make my own, and I use a mix of compost, cocoa coir, and a little bit of perlite. You can see how light and fluffy it is. And this soil is wet, it's moist. I did add water to it. And that I feel is important too, to start out with soil that's wet. So we'll move this here. So we'll just take some of the soil and fill our trays. After you fill it up, you want to go through and poke your finger right in the middle of each cell and add some more soil in. Just help get enough soil in there. You want the seeds, once you plant them, you want the seeds to make contact with the soil, so it's important to get the soil in there pretty tight. Okay. Alrighty, get this off the way. Step 2 will be planting and labeling. When you plant your seeds, it's a good practice to follow the instructions on the seed packet for how deep to plant the seeds. I normally just plant the seeds at a depth that's about equal to the size of the seed. I'm going to be getting my onions in. Got 2 varieties. And I'll be planting those pretty shallow because onion seeds are pretty small. Okay. I'll put about 2 or 3 seeds into each cell. Okay. Those are back in the pack. So once you get the seeds in, you want to lightly cover them. You also want to press the soil down on top of them. Remember, so it can make contact. Okay. After that, you want to be sure to label. I usually just put the date and whatever it is I'm planting, You want to make sure you do this because you'll regret it in the end. When everything starts sprouting, you don't know what is what. Okay. Step 3 is to get your little seeds watered in. You want to water them gently. We want to make sure the soil is moist but not soggy. You could use a spray bottle for this. Let's get these watered in gently. Now remember, we started with soil that was already moist, so you only need a little bit more on the top. Once you get your seedlings watered in, we want to cover it. Now when we cover it, we're only covering it for until the seeds start to germinate. Then we want to go ahead and take it off. It's to keep some of that humidity in and that lock that moisture in the soil until they start popping up. So these containers, they came with these little tops, these lids, and they have where you can adjust the vents. I usually start at somewhere in a halfway mark, like this, where half the hole is open and half is closed. So if you don't have something like these domes to put on top, you can easily just use some saran wrap, plastic wrap to cover the whole tray. But since these came with these domes, I'm going to use this. Step 4, we want to provide warmth and light. Seeds need warmth to sprout. You can use a heat mat. They work great for this, but you don't have to have them. It's not necessary for the plants to germinate. It's still going to germinate. The heat mat, it just speeds up that germination process. So I'd say just make sure your seed trays it's in a location where it's not going to get too cold. The seeds, it still need to be warm in order for them to sprout. So I have my seeds set up in my laundry room. So whatever temperature my house is, that's what temperature my laundry room is going to be. And that's been good enough. Although I do use a heat mat, but not all the time. So after you figure out where you'll put your seed trays, you want to figure out a source of light for them. They have to have light. You could use grow lights. You could use shop lights. I got shop lights. I'm using shop lights, but make sure if you use the shop lights, you want to get some that's at least 5,000 lumens. You could also use sunlight, like if you set them in a windowsill. I will say I have not had good luck with the windowsill method. That's why I went ahead and just got the shop lights. They're affordable, so look into those because I feel like you'll have better luck with the grow lights or the shop lights. And there you have it. Seed starting, not as hard as most people think. Starting seeds, it can be as simple or as complex as we want to make it. I prefer simple, so I'm going to keep it simple. In a few days, maybe a week or two, depending on what you're planning, you'll have your little sprouts, and in no time they'll be ready to go out and be transplanted into the garden. Hopefully I'll see you next time on Grow, Gather, Thrive, where we're cultivating growth one seed at a time. See ya.